Hi guys, it's Nez here, and in the last video for today I'll be showing you how to transfer your sold website to its new owner. Now, transferring a website and its domain name can be a scary process for people, or a scary prospect for people if they haven't done it before. It really isn't that complicated, and to make the process even simpler, Flippa themselves have a step-by-step guide on how to do it. I've also got a couple of little tools here that you can also use to try and streamline the process a little bit. Now, there are steps you need to follow in order for this to happen correctly, so check out the video today and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Now, the most important thing you need to remember when it comes to moving your website is that you have two choices. You can either transfer ownership of the hosting account that you have now to a new owner, or you can transfer the site and the domain name that you've got to the new owner's web hosting account. Now, obviously one of those processes is easier than the other, and we'll go through them both now so you understand. Now, if you're going to be doing the transferring of the domain name, database and the website yourself, this is an overview of how that process works. So the first thing you'll need to do is download a copy of the website itself and the database. Now, the website will get downloaded via FTP, so you'll need your FTP account details, and the database gets backed up using a service called cPanel, which is part of your HostGator account. You'll then need to transfer the ownership of the domain name to the brand new owner, and you'll also need to upload your copy of the site and the database to the new hosting. You then need to do other little settings for both of those sets of files, the database and the files themselves, to have it all set and ready and working. And the very last step in this process is to change over the DNS service to the new hosting. Now, if you're lucky, the person you're selling your domain name to might be on HostGator, and we can streamline this process a little bit. But regardless of whether you streamline any of this process or not, some of these steps will still need to be the same. You'll still need to transfer the ownership of the domain name, you'll still need to transfer the site across to the new owner, and you'll still need to change those DNS servers. Now, if we're doing the manual process, you're going to need a couple of things before you get started. You're going to need your own login details for HostGator, and you're also going to need the login details for the buyer's web hosting account. Now, in doing the challenge, when you would have signed up for your HostGator account, you would have received an email that looks a little bit like this. Now, this email has all of the details you need to get in, use your FTP account, do your database backups, all of those things. They should all be in those all of these details can be found in this email. So find that one and you'll be ready to go. Now, if you're going to be doing the manual process, which is transferring the site by yourself, doing a backup, doing a database backup, all of those manual steps, then luckily for you, Flippa has a couple of little guides here. Now, one of those guides was a guest post which does a very good overview of what the entire process is. So that's a fantastic site to have a look at, so I recommend you check that link out. And the second link I've got here from Flippa is an actual step-by-step process of the entire thing. Now, I won't scroll down through the page here, but basically the entire process that needs to be followed is listed in detail on Flippa's website, so you can follow it through manually. However, there are some ways that you can simplify this entire process. You can, and this is by far the simplest way of doing it, if you're not going to be using this account that you've created again for this particular website, and if you want to go and create a new one somewhere else, or create a brand new hosting account with HostGator, you can actually give the ownership of the entire hosting account to the new website buyer, if that's an option for you and them to consider. Which means basically you remove your own billing details, so that's nice and secure. Change some of the personal details, obviously, so you're protected. And you can then create their own login, or give them the login details after changing the password, and they just take over the ownership of the hosting account. Nice and simple. Now, HostGator themselves also have some transfer services, so if you're again lucky and the person you're transferring to has a HostGator account, or they're willing to create their own HostGator account, you might be able to use one of the HostGator transfer services to move the site across that way. Or you can use some software to automate part of this process. Now, some things like the transferring of the domain name and the changing of the DNS servers still need to be done manually. There's no way around that unless you're transferring an entire account across. However, there's a couple of different bits of software you can try. Now there's some paid software, things like Backup Buddy and WP Twin are a couple of examples I can think of. But there's also a free plugin that I quite like called the Duplicator plugin that we'll have a look at in a second. Now as far as using HostGator to do the transfer, as I just mentioned previously, you can go to this site here, and there's a link right in the middle of the page there called HostGator Website Transfers. And if you follow that link through, it'll give you some of the options on what you can do to move the site across. Now, if you would like to move your HostGator account across to a new person, or you'd like to transfer the ownership but you've got a couple of extra domain names in there, so you don't want to move the whole thing across, this will also allow you to move partial things across from an account, so just individual websites and domain names. Because don't forget, we've also registered our domain name with HostGator as well as the hosting to keep everything nice and simple. And we've also got to the site here where you can go and grab this Duplicator plugin. Now the Duplicator plugin is fantastic because it automates a lot of the tricky parts of this process. It will effectively create a nice simple package that has all the website files that you need as well as the database that you need. You get to download that package, which is nice and simple, and then you just simply install that to a new location. Now there's some obviously some other steps to follow, but they're all detailed within the plugin. So it's quite a terrific little plugin to use. And if you're going to be getting into the buying and selling of websites or creating a number of your own websites yourself, this is a terrific plugin to try out, because the more you can automate all of this stuff and save yourselves time, then the better. So, in summary for this particular video, the main thing I'd recommend is that you need to choose an option that is going to suit your skills and experience. So if you are a rank beginner, you can try to either transfer the entire account to someone else or use one of the HostGator transfer options, or better yet, if you want to learn some of the skills, try out the Duplicator plugin to do part of the transfer yourself. And if you are going to do the manual process, what you really need to do is make sure you follow all of the steps that are detailed in that Flipper page, step by step. Pay attention to it, read it, make sure you've got your head around it before you try anything to do with it. And lastly, I'd say try out this Duplicator plugin anyway, because it's a very handy plugin to use. It's another good way to do backups of an entire site, including the database. And if you start developing more websites over time, it's something that will save you time down the track and automate part of the process. The most important thing with all of this, though, is to not let it be overwhelming. When you get to the point where you've sold your website and you need to move it across, all of the details that have been listed in this video, despite the fact that it was largely an overview, you've got enough information here to go and take an automatic route if you need to with the plugin, or to use the transfer services. If you want to do the process manually, it's all detailed there with Flipper. We couldn't go into that with this video because it would have made the video far too long. Or you can also transfer the entire ownership of a hosting account across if that's what you wish to do. So hopefully you have found this video informative, and I will talk to you later.